We're so thrilled and honored to welcome President Donald Trump on the Adriana Cohen Show and here on Boston Herald Radio. Thank you so much for joining us, President Trump. Such an honor. We really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much, Adriana. That's great to be with you. And Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump. We were watching the Barr testimony today, and what's happening here, as you know, is the Democrats are dissatisfied. The special counsel found no collusion, no obstruction with you or your 2016 campaign, and Democrats are unsatisfied with that. So they're now trying to shoot the messenger. They're trying to smear Attorney General Barr, who has a sterling reputation. And now what they're trying to do, Democrats, is they're trying to use Mueller's letter to Barr, whining that, he took things that he mischaracterized, the findings of his report, and they're trying to use that to fuel new calls for impeachment against you. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think that they are very devastated because they looked at the report and there was absolutely no collusion and there's no obstruction either. And they were hoping against hope because that's the only way they could maybe get lucky in not such a long period of time, Adriana. Can you imagine? We're beginning already. The campaign is beginning already. But, with the economy the way it is, it's a record. I mean, we're doing better than ever. Stock market hit another new high. People are working. We have the highest number of people working in the United States right now than we ever have. We've never had this many people, almost 160 million people. And the tax cuts and the regulation cuts and the choice for the veterans, we've done things. And as you know, Supreme Court judges, two great ones. And
that's right.
We're going to have 145 federal judges very shortly. It'll be a total of 145, including 2 Supreme Court judges. And they're pretty much shocked and amazed, and I think they respect it, but they don't want to show that. But I heard that the Attorney General was in many other things.
Excellent, because we got to get to the bottom of this corruption for sure.
Absolutely. No, it's important. It's a terrible thing. This should never happen to another president. This should never happen to a country again. And when people look back in 50 years and 100 years, I hope that they'll say, we're never going to do that. Mm-hmm. We're never going to do that. No, what happened here is really disgraceful. It's an embarrassment to our country. And a lot more is being learned, and a lot more will be learned.
Excellent, because we need to protect our democracy, and it looks
True.
As though that all the collusion that took place was, by Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and a bunch of Democrats and dirty cops at the FBI who used Russian informants, that discredited information, this dossier, and then fed that through our justice system to use against a political opponent.
Right.
That should never happen in the United States, ever. And I hope that Bill Barr gets to the bottom of it, whatever it takes, whether he has to appoint a special counsel or just do his own investigation. This should never happen to any other president. And so we support you getting to the bottom of it. But just to pivot to a local issue, we'd love to ask you on. There are 2 Democratic, left-leaning DAs here in Massachusetts, and they now have filed a lawsuit on Monday to block all ICE agents and DHS and basically any type of immigration official from even coming to any Massachusetts state courthouse because they don't want, illegal immigrants. Many of them are MS-13 gang members and all these dangerous people. They don't want, they're protecting them. In fact, on Monday, the day that these 2 DAs, Rachel Rollins is one of them, the day that they filed this federal, lawsuit on Monday, ICE nabbed 2 gang members at a courthouse, a Suffolk courthouse here in Massachusetts, an MS-13 gang member and another bad guy. He's from another gang called the 18th Street Gang. These are bad hombres, and ICE needs to be able to do their job. And this one DA, Rachel Rollins, is really bravado. She's like, oh, come get me. Come and arrest me if you want. How do you think the U.S. Attorney here in Massachusetts should handle this?
Well, I think that it's a sad situation and very unfortunate for Massachusetts, a great place that I know very well, so many friends up there. And, these are people that probably don't mind crime. They don't mind what's going on. And if you look at MS-13, they say in the world, there's nothing more evil. These are some very, very bad people.
That's right.
And to try and protect them, I don't think so. We're bringing thousands back to where they came from and putting some in prison. The bad ones are really bad ones. But what they've done to young girls, what they've done to women, what they've done to others is just horrible. And so for her to be saying that, she's got to live with it. She's got to live with her own conscience.
That's right. I mean, what they do to women, and she's a woman. These are two female DAs that are protecting these hardened criminals, these gang members that rape women. They do horrible things. They dismember people. I mean, ultra violence. It's horrific. Yep. And this is who they don't want coming to state courthouses. It's just really shameful.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Mr. President, do you have a message for these judges and these DAs who are actively helping these illegal immigrants, many with records, like you just mentioned, escape justice? Do you have a message for them directly?
Well, they have their own message, and they come from a place that you just can't really understand. They're coming from a you almost wonder why. What are they doing? They're protecting people that in many cases are, and certainly not in all cases, but in many cases are very dangerous people. And you say, why? What are they doing this for? What's the game? But my message is we have to stop crime in our country. We've got it way down, despite places like Chicago where they've had tremendous surges, which are just terrible. I mean, when you look at it. But, crime is way down and in the country, and part of the reason is because of, I said, we're taking some very, very bad people, including MS-13, and bringing them back or putting them in prison in certain cases. But we're bringing them back. We're getting them out by the thousands. I don't mean by a few people, by the thousands. And we've been very successful in that. It's not an easy job. These are heroes. These are really heroes. They're doing the job nobody wants to do.
Exactly.
And they do it because, partially they love the country. They also happen to have they love doing it, but they love the country. And they're very, very strong people. They're very, very professional. And they've done an incredible job. It's hard to believe that a big community like you have that we all know very well would want these people living there in some cases.
Yeah, it certainly is. It makes our Boston just less safe.
In New Hampshire, where we've got a lot of listeners in New Hampshire.
Exactly.
Opioids.
Absolutely. Very special place. For me, it's a very special place. And, we're really knocking the drug stuff way down. We're being very, very tough at the border with the drugs. It's brutal because, we're building the wall. It's going up. We're going to have 400 miles of wall built before the end of next year, which a lot of people don't even know. The press doesn't even want to report on the wall. When they see the wall built, they don't even want to talk about it. But we need it, and it's going up very rapidly. The Army Corps of Engineers is building it. It wasn't easy. We're taking from here and there to build. Normally they should just give it to you and hope you get it built fast. But we're doing very well with the wall. We need that, and with other things. But in the meantime, the laws are so bad at the border, so horrible that people are able to come in that you don't want. We get them out ultimately, but it is a brutal situation. Catch and release. You catch them, and then by law you have to release them. It is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've done an incredible job leading, securing our border, something the Democrats continually fail to do. It's another promise you've kept amongst so many. And we just want to look forward to the 2020 election now. Joe Biden, he is leading amongst his peers there, the other Democrat candidates. He had a successful launch, they say. He's leading in the polls. Is Biden the Democrat that you think would be most difficult to face, or are you not worried about any of them?
Well, he's a sleepy man, but I just don't know. I mean, who knows really who can do the best? In many ways, I like him. He's not as smart as Bernie, and he's not as quick, but he's got different views a little bit, I guess. But they're all pretty heavy leaning left, including him. So I don't know who. I know he got an endorsement from the firefighters union, and people went wild. Firefighters are going crazy because they're for me. I mean, the firefighters are going to be voting for me. So are the police. So are the military. These are people all voting for me. They're going to vote for me. And, you know, I know the unions. They're dues-sucking people. They just want their dues, and they couldn't care less. But the membership, that happens with many unions. You know, the top guys, they've been with the Democrats for 50, 60 years, and they don't care what the members think. They couldn't care less. But there was outrage by firefighters when a union, one of the bigger unions,
Yes.
Endorsed Sleepy Joe. So it was an interesting thing. But I think we're going to do great. You know, we've done all the things that I talked about, Adriana.
That's right.
You know, you were with me in the campaign, and all these things that we talked about, for the most part, we almost had health care done, but we'll get it done. As soon as we get the House back, we're going to definitely get it done, and a really good health care, but we have to get the House back. So, but we've done everything. And by the way, on health care, with co-op plans and all of the different plans we're offering now, and you have 180 million people on private health insurance that do not want to lose it, by the way.
Right.
And so we've done a lot for that, too. It's been great. We got rid of the individual mandate from Obamacare, which was the worst part of it. So we've done a lot on that, too.
Exactly. I mean, I think a lot of voters see that you're a builder. You're building our economy, growing our economy, and you've created, over 5 million jobs. The economy is very strong. Wages are up, even for low-income workers. I mean,
Right.
The unemployment rate is at historic lows for all Americans, including women and African Americans and minorities. And those are just a few of your major accomplishments, including tax cuts. I mean, we need a couple hours to go through all your achievements here, and for sure. And also, tackling the opioid crisis. One of the, I think, the most underreported stories this year was that you got China to agree to ban fentanyl, to stop shipping fentanyl. It's a huge story.
That's going to be a big story. And also, we're down with the opioids. We're down about 16% in terms. We're working very hard with doctors and with hospitals and, putting a lot of pressure on them, frankly. And we're down 16 to 17%. And that's a big, big factor. That is a horrible situation. You go in, you have a broken arm, and you come out, you're addicted to drugs. You're a drug addict. And it's a terrible thing. But we're way down. We have them really in a good position. I mean, good position, a very much better position. We're trying to develop a painkiller. We give money away to different really great companies who develop this stuff, and we're trying to develop a painkiller that's not addictive, that can be equally as powerful, but it's not addictive, and we're getting very close.
Well, you're doing an exceptional job, and we just want to thank you for promises made, promises kept, and keep up the great work, Mr. President. And we want to thank you so much for joining us. We know you're short on time, busiest man in the world we're talking to right now.
Can I ask you?
Never short for you. You've been so fair. It's really fair is the word. I mean,
Right.
You report it properly, and I really appreciate it too. And you're terrific. And Tom, thank you very much. And it's been an honor. We'll do it again, Adriana. Okay?
That would be such an honor. We'd love that. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Adriana.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.